world. So today we're going to talk about YouTube. YouTube is omnipresent. It's one of the biggest avenues of information. So when it does wacky stuff like what I'm going to talk about, we got to pay attention to it. And this is not a new phenomenon, but it was recently brought to my attention again when Donut Operator, a former police officer turned YouTuber, uploaded a video called Will YouTube Delete My Channel?, where he regales us with a story of him doing a breakdown video of a shooting video. So what he often does is he takes bits of footage of police encounters with criminals and people that are being placed under arrest and breaks down why the police did what they did, whether what they did was correct or incorrect in his opinion from his experience. But YouTube decided this last video was too graphic for whatever reason, and they took it down. Which, okay, if that's their terms of service, you can kind of say, well, that's fair, they're a private company. I'll get to that point later. But first, here's a critical piece of information. There were other videos from, I believe, news organizations and other users that took this very same video and did the very same thing Donut Operator was doing. And this is selective enforcement, and it's just blatantly wrong. And how do we rein that in? You know, YouTube is this giant faceless corporation run by another giant faceless corporation, Google. So what are you going to do? And do you have grounds to do anything? Well, the second question, I believe, yes, you do, because we live in the United States of America, and the corporations that operate within the bounds of the jurisdiction of the United States should be subject to the laws thereof and to the spirit of the laws thereof. More precisely, because, especially in the case of YouTube, it's the thing that allowed it to emerge. See, YouTube to me is a very interesting thing. It's a very specific thing. It's kind of a reverse emergent phenomenon. What's an emergent phenomenon? Well, emergence is kind of a concept that can be applied to lots of different things, be it physics, biology, philosophy, etc. But basically, it's when the whole does something completely different than its individual parts. And that's to an extent true in the case of YouTube. YouTube as a whole is this big kind of channel or network. But it's also reversely emergent in that YouTube does not do the things that its individual parts do. See, the users generate the content, and the users are the ones that are viewing the content and commenting on it and making the community what it is, making YouTube what it is. So YouTube, in effect, is kind of like a big public board and a pen that everybody writes with and comments on. It's a way to share things. It's a platform. That's what it is. And therefore, it's very different from other sorts of businesses, especially in the context of a country that operates on the principles of freedom of expression. Yeah. I don't think there's really a way to weasel out of that with, well, they're a private company. Sure, they're a private company, but they're a private company that has to operate under the laws. You can be a private company and start dumping chemicals into the water supply, but, you know, that's illegal, and if it's not, it very soon probably will be because it causes a negative consequence. And stifling expression, especially wholesome expression where somebody tries to rein in the sorts of, you know, just crazy overreactions people have to encounters with the police. And I'm not an apologist for the police unless it's clearly a case where apologetics is legitimate. I don't just willy-nilly off the cuff support, you know, law enforcement, as I don't support anything in that way. It's just a case-by-case basis. So, especially in a case where someone is doing something wholesome and you're stifling them, that's crazy. This is somebody, obviously with some kind of political slant, influencing a person. And even from a corporate standpoint, doing that to your consumers, to your customers, to your clientele, and in the case of YouTube, not even your clientele, the people that sort of work for you, that sort of not only work for you, but are kind of your boss in a way, because they're the ones that generate the content that generates the clicks and views that generate your revenue. You know, he's not the smallest YouTuber out there. He's not like incredibly huge, but he's got quite a good number of subscribers. Let me see. Let me scroll down here. 1.35 million subscribers. So a guy that's watched by 1.35 million people has had a video taken down that other people have up because apparently it's too graphic. It just doesn't add up. And this kind of behavior we see repeated over and over and over again. One solution is obviously to go to all tech, but I think on the other hand, we as a society need to start demanding more, and more vociferously, because everyone is here, and there might be a transition to alternative technology, but it's going to take a while. And in the meantime, all of the bottlenecks in communication and things that will occur because of this kind of capriciousness are dangerous for the functioning of a healthy democracy, for a healthy democratic republic. A thing that's not just built on the whims of the masses, but on principle, on law. And I felt that bore commenting on, because it just gets more and more ridiculous every single day. That's basically all I have time for. Thanks for listening. If you like what you saw, what you're hearing, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out with our stupid algorithm. Give it a thumbs up, or interact in whatever way you feel necessary. I also have a website where I talk about odds and ends, and I write stories, all kinds of stuff. It's called fractaljournal.com. Thanks so much for listening, and take care.